Adam Andrzejewski. Adam is the CEO and founder of OpenTheBooks.com. And before dedicating his life to public service, Adam co-founded Homepages Directories, a $20 million publishing company. Today, OpenTheBooks.com is the largest private repository of U.S. public sector spending. And Adam's works have been featured on Good Morning America, C-SPAN, The Wall Street Journal, New York Times, CNN, Fox News, NPR, Forbes, and other national media. The Andrzejewski Open the Books investigation into congressional corruption is featured in a 2021 episode of CNBC's American Greed. Welcome, Adam.
It is great to be here, Kim. Thank you very much for that kind introduction. Well done.
Well, first of all, when do you sleep? And secondly, I love people who have difficult last names, and you're so kind. Whenever you send something out, you actually give little helpers. So that means you're a good man, Adam.
Well, thank you, Kim. It's a fine reputation to live up to, and I'll try to do that here on the Zoom. Look, I'm really happy to be here. We just came out with a big national news story. It's been wall-to-wall Fox all week. We took our hard data and we fact-checked the Obama administration's person on the Sunday morning shows in June. They said that Democrats did not defund the police. It was Republicans. We took a look at the big city mayors. We found that they did defund their police. Mm-hmm. We filed a Freedom of Information Act request to see if those mayors were taking their personal protection from police on police details, and we found that they were spending millions of dollars of taxpayer money, and this is national news.
Yeah, I saw that in all those major cities, and it was interesting how they were spending all this the money for them, but not for the citizens who put them there. You know, Adam, I'm asking this of everyone on this panel. What was the catalyst for you to decide to go into this project? Because this is not an easy one. Anybody who goes to Open the Books, I got in there, and I mean, you could get lost in there. Just all the data, and at the same time, your head could be blowing up because you're frustrated with what you're seeing. What's the story on you getting involved in this area?
So I think you have to go back to, when I was in the second and the fourth grade in 1976 and 1978, and my father, as a school teacher in our small town of Herscher, Illinois. Herscher is literally in the middle of nowhere, surrounded on all sides by 26 miles of fields. My father, as a local school teacher, 7 kids at home, the family at or near the federal poverty markers for my entire upbringing, he decided to run for state representative against one of the most powerful and most corrupt Illinois politicians in history. That actually means something, since Illinois is the Super Bowl of corruption. My father ran for state rep against George Ryan. And then obviously George Ryan became Speaker of the House, Secretary of State, Lieutenant Governor for a couple of terms, and then governor. And then he's one of the governors that the Department of Justice caught up with, and he served time in the federal penitentiary. So we knew Ryan on the home turf. My father will tell you stories. He passed in November, but my father told stories about how he was run off the road in the family car. Pressure was put on him at work, how our home was broken into, and that our phones were tapped. And so look, what we're going to talk about today, by and large, is how to get involved at the local level. And those are the toughest fights. My dad had that fight at the local level. I would not be doing this but for his experience. So I want to issue the challenge to everybody watching the video today to step up, get involved. You may run for office, you may lose, but your story, your effort can have generational impacts with your children.
I love that. Thank you so much for that. Well, Maddie's going to pop up a slide, and this stat is actually in our brief, and I was amazed by this. In 2019, the 20 largest federal agencies reported $175 billion improper payments. That's an average of $14.6 billion a month. Now, Adam, is that an enigma, or is this just what's happening in government?
So, Kim, what government programs running well? Okay, so we've investigated townships in Illinois, state governments, the federal government, tranches of federal spending. Not one single time have we found a government program running well. So, could it be the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS? Well, they've admitted that last year in 2020, they misspent $1 out of every $4 administering the earned income tax program. That's the program that's supposed to help poor families. And 1 out of every $4 that they paid out of the program went to people who weren't qualified to receive the payment. That was $18 billion last year. What government program could be running well? Could it be Social Security? So Social Security admitted last year to improper and mistaken payments of $8 billion. But here's the deal. Our auditors went a little deeper. We took a look at their books, and their books are a mess. They actually have 6 million Social Security numbers active of people aged 112 and over. And only 40 of those people exist in the entire world. So,
Wow.
It gets a little worse on improper payments.
Well,
Congress has mandated the 20 largest federal agencies report their improper payments all the way back to 2004. We've added up what they've disclosed, and it's a stunning number of $2.5 trillion. And so, Kim, look, this government is not run by technocrats. This is institutionalized incompetence.
Well, Adam, so my question to you is, if you and I were sitting in a company and we did something like this, someone loses their jobs. And so, okay, we have a checks and balance. We find out that we have these types of overpayments. Is anybody held accountable for these actions? I think that's what's so perplexing.
So that is perplexing to the American people. So at the local level, the state level, and the federal level, there is an abject lack of investigations with teeth and clawback and prosecutions amongst, or just people that lose their job because of incompetence in the public sector. So you're exactly right. In the private sector, this would never go on. There is a very tight tolerance for anything like this. Think about this. In a private company, every single line item is audited. From an expense report, somebody has to provide receipts and sign off on every single line item. And it's just not that way with government. And that's actually why we have a bottom-up model, a transactional model. And so with Kristen, she has a top-down model of analysis, of taking aggregates, looking at them, and then breaking them down. We actually start at the granular transactional level. And this is important because this is the way it's done in the private sector. And that's how we differentiate ourselves from any other organization out there. We have captured all 23 million public employee salaries from the federal, state, and local level. So even in your K through 12 school districts, you can come to openthebooks.com and you can see who by name makes how much money for each of the last 4 years displayed for free right on our website. And you don't have to file a Freedom of Information Act request. Identify yourself to get the information. We've already done all that heavy lifting for you. Last year, incredibly, our auditors filed 40,000 of those requests. So we've put it all up there for you to see. We have all checkbook spending at the federal level, 49 out of 50 states, and in 11,100 local units of government, we have their checkbook vendor spending as well. So you can follow the money, so you can hold the political class accountable for tax and spend decisions.
So Adam, you mentioned an egregious spend, which was the Social Security numbers that are with people who shouldn't be alive today that are being used. But every time we turn on the TV, we keep hearing, oh, we need to spend more money in local governments for COVID-19. And my question to you, what is the total amount so far that has been passed for COVID-19 relief?
So the total amount for COVID-19 relief from Congress, I believe it's $6 trillion. But what's not talked about on top of that is the Federal Reserve has, I believe, a $5 trillion toolbox. And we're not exactly sure how much of that toolbox has been used in the fight. So total COVID spending that is either passed or in the toolbox could be as high as $11 trillion.
So let me ask you this. How would you direct people to find out how the COVID money is being spent in their area? I'm just going to give you an example that was just shared with me this week. There is a school district here in Kansas that's receiving like $4.6 million, and they want to build a health clinic. And I'm thinking to myself, a health clinic? I mean, this is one-time money. And why is the school district in the business of creating health clinics? How about you spend that on tutors for all of the school time that's been lost with those kids, where the education gap is? I mean, where would you advise them to look first?
So you can come to our website at openthebooks.com. On the homepage, scroll down to the map section. The third map in, we detail the amounts to the 30,000 municipalities across the country. So we don't have the K through 12 school districts on that map, but we do have your cities and your counties, and the amounts are stunning. For example, my opinion editorial was published in a premium spot at the Chicago Tribune 2 days ago. And in that editorial, we detail out the North Shore communities, like Winnetka and Glencoe and Wilmette and Highland Park. $12 million in the American Rescue Act bailed out Glencoe at 1.1 million, Winnetka at 1.5 million, Lake Forest at 2.4 million, Wilmette, where Sylvie's at 3.3 million, and Highland Park at 3.6 million. Right here in my hometown of Hinsdale, $2 million. The average home price is $1 million. You know, and it's the same in your communities across the country. I would start there. I would ask your mayor, go to our website, get the amount, and ask your mayor if they're going to send the money back. And if they're not, how they're going to spend it, and start right there.
And I think, you know, as we wrap this up, my concern always is when people get money like this, they start a brand new program. And then that program will continue to need funding. And then they'll raise taxes to continue that program. I mean, it's an easy way for the camel to get his nose underneath the tent.
Absolutely. So what we're coming out with, and I'd like to share this with Policy Circle when we come out with it, it's going to be unique. We've already coded it for Illinois. We can code it for every single K through 12 school district in the entire country because we're holding the data. In Illinois, I'm going to tell you what it is. It's a 3-page report you could walk into your school board meeting with. It lists the top 25 salaries, the top 25 retirement annuity pension recipients, and then it has analysis, comparison of the salary spend and the headcount at the district versus inflation. And we also band the number of employees into salary bands so you can see the headcounts of who's making how much. For example, in Hinsdale, one of our most highly compensated employees is our driver's ed teacher, who makes about $170,000.
Wow, that's amazing. Adam, I'm going to look forward to bringing you back to the lightning round. Thank you. You've given everybody a lot to think about. I hope they have their ibuprofen sitting next to them because they might have a headache when we're done here thinking, okay, where do I begin? So thank you.